Good morning. We're just going to give folks a moment to come in from the waiting room. And as a reminder, when you are entering from the waiting room, please do remain on mute unless or until you are appearing or testifying. We'll give just another moment for folks to clear. Okay. Good morning. This is an administrative hearing before the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing. Today is Thursday, May 19th, 2022. This hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. That is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. We are joined today by the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Consumer Affairs and Licensing, Kathleen Joyce, and Director of Operations, Rebecca Fu. I will read this morning's agenda item into the record. I will then ask who is present on behalf of the applicant. Then you'll make a brief presentation regarding your proposal, followed by questions by the division and testimony beginning with elected officials or their representatives. Please limit your testimony to 2 minutes and please state your name, address, and affiliation, if any. The one item on this morning's agenda is the Bowery Presents Josh Body, located at 525R William F. McClellan Highway in East Boston, known as the Soundtrack at Suffolk Downs. The application is to maintain and operate the live entertainment categories consisting of instrumental and vocal music, floor show, disc jockey, dance performers, dancing by patrons, audio devices, projectors, and stage plays for various dates between September 2022 through October 2023. Who is present on behalf of the applicant?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Kristen Scanlon representing the applicant. Signed on with us this morning are Josh Body, who's the Vice President and Head of Boston Office for the Bowery Presents, Andrew Townsend, who is the Asset Manager for HYM Investment Group, as well as Jessica Ferroli from the HYM team. She is a Site Activation Manager. The application before you is for a series of entertainment licenses between the dates of September 2022 through October 2023, which will also have coordinating one-day beer and wine licenses as well within the infield of the premises known as Suffolk Downs. On both licensing fronts, the team would eventually like to explore the opportunity to obtain annual entertainment licenses, but in the meantime, and while the majority of this particular site at Suffolk Downs is currently being underutilized while the redevelopment of the surrounding site is ongoing, the team wanted to come up with and really bring back to the neighborhood what has historically and periodically been used as an outdoor live music venue. Throughout this process, we have had several preliminary and ongoing conversations with various city departments and agencies, elected officials and neighborhood organizations, including but not limited to the Orient Heights Neighborhood Council, Representative Adrian Modero, and former City Councilor Lydia Edwards, along with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services as well. I know you've heard from some of those folks prior to this morning's hearing as well. I'll turn it over to Andrew Townsend in a few moments to walk you through the site itself, followed by Josh, who will introduce Bowery's involvement in this endeavor. But by way of introduction to the plans, and as previously indicated, the concerts would be held within the infield of Suffolk Downs, dates of September this year through the summer season next year through October of 2023. And dates, of course, depend largely on bookings for various acts. The wheels are in motion and what you might expect to be a fluid situation with acts like these. So once we have firm dates, we would report to the board with those dates. These will be ticketed events for up to 8,500 attendees for approximately a dozen or so shows to start, excuse me. As far as categories of entertainment are concerned, obviously because of the nature of concerts and the venue, we will most often utilize, of course, instrumentalists and vocalists, and the other categories that are requested are certainly complementary to the planned musical acts at this site, such as audio devices, projectors, a stage, DJ, dancing by performers and patrons, and a floor show. An impressive amount of work, detail, collaboration, consultation has gone into this development, now this venue, for quite some time now. So I know they're proud and excited to introduce the venue, obviously, to the board this morning and to the public. At this point, I'll turn it over to Andrew to take you through the plans for the site.
Thank you, Kristen. I'm able to share my screen. I believe I can. Awesome. All righty. Can you guys see that and hear me?
We can see you and hear you.
Excellent. All righty. So as Kristen mentioned, the Suffolk Downs has been home to entertainment for a number of years. There's a picture of the Beatles performing there in 1960. So we see this venue as kind of reclaiming that entertainment venue for the site. So we're certainly excited to get it off the ground and up and operational. So just kind of venue details, as Kristen mentioned, the location is going to be the infield of the old horse racing track. The capacity is going to be about 8,500 attendees, mainly general admission with a VIP area. The venue season will be typically June through October. This year, we're obviously not going to be having shows in June, so planning to start in September. And then obviously the applications through October of 2023. We do plan to have, or would like to have multiple seasons past 2023 as well. But we can cross that bridge when we get to it. And then the plan is to have 20 plus shows per season. Obviously not this year, but 2023 would be the plan. And then mainly evenings, likely 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. or so. So I can turn over to Josh to kind of introduce, or not introduce, but kind of review the Bowery Presents and what their operations look like in Boston and beyond.
Thanks, Andrew. So Josh Body from the Bowery Presents. In addition to the venues in Boston and the Boston region that we operate, including Roadrunner, which was recently opened, as well as the St. Clair and Harvard Square, and presenting concerts at other venues in town, including the TD Garden, Box Center, Agganis Arena, and others. We also have experience operating outdoor venues in other markets, other cities. Portland, Maine, picture there is from Thompson's Point, a venue that we operate up there with a capacity up to 7,000. We also operate Forest Hills Tennis Stadium in Queens, New York, that holds up to 10,000, as well as venues in Richmond and throughout the country with our partners at AEG Presents. So this is very much in line with what we do on a day-to-day basis, and have been speaking with HYM, the team at Suffolk Downs, for a number of years, and it feels like a great location. As Andrew highlighted, the history of concerts there, from the Beatles to Radiohead to Bjork. There's a great history of concerts happening there. So looking to reactivate the space as the development kicks off in that neighborhood. In terms of partnering with HYM, they are they're the property owners, and they'll be doing the development there. But they were looking for subject matter experts in concerts to operate the venue itself. So we'll be coming in and bringing in our venue operations team, our talent booking, production, and promotion. So pretty much all the operations of the venue will be on us or the other partners. It's similar to Roadrunner, where we have a concessions partner as well as security partners, but we're the ones overseeing the day-to-day operations of the venue, is what we'd look to do here at Suffolk Downs.
Great, thanks, Josh. So this is a kind of an overview of the site, pointing out where the venue is going to be located. So this blue shaded area, that's where the venue will be located. Parking in existing parking lots. And then, as you probably know, Suffolk Downs is on the blue line. So we have the Suffolk Downs T station here, which we envision will be a primary source of travel for a lot of the patrons. And there is an existing asphalt roadway that goes from the T station onto the Suffolk Downs property, and then over to the venue entrance. So that's an overview of the venue on the site. And this next slide is a rendering of the venue itself. So patrons will be entering here onto a grass field, stage here, VIP area up and over here, concessions, merchandising tents on the perimeter, and then portable restrooms over here in the top right. The stage obviously here, and then back of house area for talent and production behind the stage. that's a general overview of the venue. And then the last slide is just transportation and sound mitigation. So as mentioned, we do have on-site parking. So we plan to have 1,000 plus parking spaces in the existing parking lots. The MBTA Blue Line will bring patrons as well to just off the site. The MBTA does operate a few buses in the neighborhood, which people can use to get to the site. And then we also anticipate rideshare to be another method people will use to get to the site, Ubers, Lyfts, et cetera. And we'll have a drop off and pickup plan for those ride shares as well. Another item I wanted to touch upon was just sound mitigation. We obviously are close to the Orient Heights neighborhood in Boston, as well as the Beachmont neighborhood in Revere. But to mitigate the sound, we've strategically angled the stage away from the neighborhoods. Concerts will end by 11 p.m. And then after, security will be present throughout the site before and after to, for crowd disbursement and crowd management as well. So those are the items that we want to touch upon. Happy to answer any questions or whatnot from the group, but appreciate everyone's time this morning.
Thank you. How do we stop the share screen? Here we go. Thank you. Executive Director Joyce, do you have any questions?
I do. Thank you for that presentation and the explanation. Could you walk me through, it says doors open at 6 p.m. What time would the show actually start? What time would you be doing sound checks and stuff like that on the day of the show?
It's broadly speaking, a general day, the load in for the artists, the idea would be would have a stage out there for the season. And then the artists would be bringing in their backline gear if they have their own lighting. That would begin in the morning, sound checks happening mid-afternoon, I would say, typically, with doors opening at 6 p.m., concerts starting around 7 p.m. And running till 10:30 p.m. on an average event, after which the loadout would begin, and that's usually about a 2 to 3 hour process for all the trucks to be finished loading up and packed out and on their way out.
Okay, and who will do the sound monitoring? Would it be you, or would it be the actual performer?
It would be us. We would have a sound monitor at the front of house area, so about 100 feet from the stage edge, where we'd be monitoring sound levels, as well as watching them around the property line, especially in the kind of early days. We worked with a consultant who's done some work both with venues and in the Suffolk Downs project to get some baseline readings and work with us on the various as Andrew mentioned, how to orient the stage, how to which frequencies are usually the most troublesome frequencies to limit, and so would be putting those into place and would be responsible for monitoring the sound levels, not the artist.
Okay. And I know the closest abutters are pretty far away from where the actual stage is going to be, but should there be an issue with sound, what would the process be for the neighbors, or I guess the neighbors, to communicate with you that it's too loud, like in real time?
So in real time, we always dedicate, one person on our staff that will have a dedicated phone line that we would get out to the Orient Heights neighborhood should there be an issue. Having that person to reach out to and let us know that, hey, it's it's too loud, and we'll work with our team and our the sound team to reduce the volume. Look at the scope, should it be in violation of the sound code.
Okay. And I know Attorney Scanlon said they anticipate about a dozen or so shows for this initial application. Is there a maximum number of shows that you anticipate this year?
For 2022, I would put it below a dozen easily, and then 2023, we wouldn't have a maximum for this number, but we'd anticipate around 20 concerts
For 2023, okay.
for 20. Yeah.
And then a little more information, if you don't mind, about your dispersal plan. So the show is over around 10:30. I don't have the shared screen up anymore, but how many, like, tell me about how you're dispersing people to their cars and to the train.
Yeah, so with our with our event staff would be having plenty of wayfinding signage as well as staff to direct people either to the Blue Line. As Andrew mentioned, we're seeing a lot more people using rideshare services. So the idea would be have a dedicated rideshare pickup and drop off lot where we're working with Uber and Lyft as the two most popular ones to have you can geofence the area. So that's the dedicated area for Ubers and Lyft. So it's not, they can't stop anywhere on the property. There'll be a dedicated area to push them through like any other kind of large event area. And then, working with Boston Police, Boston Transportation to make sure we have a good disbursement plan for getting cars out of the parking lots quickly. And obviously, this is an 8,500 person use. The site itself, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew or Jess, but the racetrack, at its peak was 30,000 or so people at time for large events like the Mass Cap race. So the site is definitely set up for quickly dispersing crowds of a larger size. So we'd look on some of those past plans on how to get cars out quickly.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
the people that are using the train station, they have to walk by a street right there. Will you be having security there to make sure that they're not they're continuing on their way? It's right by a big elderly population.
Yeah, the plan, there's some existing fencing, but we'll be adding to that fencing in the construction plan to keep, kind of keep one access path to the Blue Line, and that would be staffed, both for the neighborhood, patron safety, best practices would be having staff dispersed along that route to keep the crowds moving towards the Blue Line.
Okay, and pending approval of the license, any marketing that you do for these concerts, I don't know how quickly you're planning on advertising and booking and selling tickets. Please make sure you add to any of those advertisements pending City of Boston approval. I understand the timing and the nature of booking shows doesn't always line up with the City of Boston's licensing timeline. So we've run into issues with other venues when the licenses have not been issued and neighbors are unhappy that advertising has gone on before we've had a chance to communicate with the actual license involved. Let me see, I don't have any more questions right now, but I'm going to turn it over to Rebecca Fu. Do you have any other questions you need for the license?
I just, if you could just send us the PowerPoint presentation as well as your security, emergency and operations plan, since this is a large venue. Do you plan on selling tickets just online or at the door? Is there a box office?
Both. I mean, traditionally we would plan to see 90% of sales online these days, 90+%, quite frankly. If a show is not sold out in the before the event, we would offer ticket sales at the box office, and there'd be a box office trailer there for people to walk up and purchase, but that's becoming increasingly rare.
And do you have a security contractor that you're already engaged with, or will be hiring directly?
We have one. We haven't committed to them for this site, but currently at Roadrunner we use RSIG, and they would most likely be our security provider for this site as well.
That concludes my questions. Thank you. Oh, actually, sorry, one more. I'm assuming all age groups.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you. Are there any individuals who would like to testify, beginning with elected officials or their representatives?
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. Natalia Benitez with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The applicant for the proposed venue located Suffolk Downs presented an informational briefing to the members of the Orient Heights Neighborhood Council. No opposition was voiced. Our office did not receive any letters of support, neither in opposition. So at this time, our office would like to defer judgment to the board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other individuals with us this morning who would like to testify? Okay, I'll turn it back over to Executive Director Joyce to ask if you have any further questions.
Thank you. I don't have any further questions right now. If we do, I can follow up with Attorney Scanlon. We're excited to see these things coming to the city in different parts of the neighborhood. So we'll work with you to make sure we can get this right.
Thank you very much. That is the only item on the agenda for this morning. The Executive Director will take this matter under advisement and will issue a written decision. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Great.
Thank you.